Hi folks, Patrick here from Have Cheetah View. So I thought I'd go ahead and share this review with you guys because this is sort of funny. I thought anyway. So last night, me and the Cheetah were looking for something to watch, and I grabbed the movie. And I thought this movie it had been remade. So I grabbed the movie, I put it on there, and I expected to see the remake. So I'm sitting there watching this, and I don't know, about 20 minutes in, I realized that I think I got the wrong movie. I think the movie that I got was the original movie, and I didn't even realize I had actually picked that up. I thought I had grabbed the remake. And lo and behold, it turned out that I had grabbed and bought the original movie. And the movie that we'll be talking about a little bit today is none other than 1995's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. Now, I thought this was I thought this was the remake, the one that was written and directed by and starred by Elizabeth Banks. So I put it on and I expected that. That's what I expected to watch. And lo and behold, I got the original movie. I had no idea I picked it up. I truly didn't. I thought this was the remake. But I had it on, so I said, "Well, what the hell? I had never seen it before. Well, let's, hey, I'm game for it. I've watched Power Rangers before. Uh, Hell yeah, right? So me and the Cheetah, we decided that's what we're gonna watch. So, um, this is the 1995 movie that came out. By that time, some of you might not know because you guys might be a little too young. But when this movie came out, Power Rangers was the shit. Um, it had originally had come over from Japan. Japan had made a series called Super Sentai series, and it had different seasons and different teams of Rangers coming in. And Saban Films had actually bought the rights, the American rights, and Saban Entertainment, and they brought it over here to America through Australia, of course. Um, so they brought it over here, and then what they did was they had the show, but they used a lot of clips from the Super Sentai series. All the fighting scenes were very much basically taken from the Japanese series, stock footage, so to speak. And then they combined it with an all-American cast. That would be Karen Ashley, Johnny Young Bosch, Steve Cardenas, Jason David Frank, Amy Jo Johnson, and David Yost. So there were six of them, six Power Rangers. And so every episode, they would have to fight, they fight some kaiju monster, some robot or something whatnot. And the kids just loved it. It was, and tell you the truth, there were some adults that really liked it too. Now, me personally, because I was working all the time, I knew about the craze. Obviously, couldn't escape it, but I had never really watched any of the episodes till later on. Actually, until I got here to Michigan. It was the first time I had actually ever watched a Power Rangers episode. I watched Power Rangers SPD for the whole season. Okay, so I like those things. Who doesn't like kaiju's? If you don't like kaiju's, you're definitely on the wrong channel. So anyway, the movie was a lot of fun. We watched the movie yesterday, and because when it came out, it was, kids were everywhere. Parents were being dragged to the theaters, and, it's all about Power Rangers and whatnot. So we watched this for the first time, and so we can actually share some thoughts with you about this. Um, the plot obviously is that, there's six kids. They've been chosen to be Power Rangers by Zordon, and they operate out of a base, and whenever there's trouble, they have different levels of power up. First, they can fight up themselves because they're all pretty good martial artists. And then if it gets a little hairy, they can switch into their combat suits, and it gives them extra abilities. And then if shit really hits the fan, then they can morph into zords, and then then they fight as zords in separate combat vehicles. And then it turns into a kaiju they're fighting. They can morph into the Megazord. the huge monster they form into, and then they fight the big monster. So there's different levels for the power ups. Uh, in this movie, um, basically they're enjoying life and jumping out of a plane and doing some crazy stunts. But they don't know that at a construction site, there's this big old egg that's been released, big purple egg, and they go ahead and a group of bad guys led by Lord Zed touch this egg and release the being inside of it, which is Ivan Ooze, who's been locked away for 6,000 years. For a guy who comes out 6,000 years, he speaks pretty good English. I don't know if English had actually been invented yet, but he came out looking and talking. Um, so he comes out and again, it's like, wow, for a guy with 6,000 years, you come out, with your power set pretty damn high for 6,000 years. Well, why didn't you get out of it? Anyway, he takes over the outlaw gang that Lord Zed, Rita Repulsa, Goldar, and Mordat. So they're the bad guys. Well, he takes over them, and actually he actually sends some of them to their version of the Phantom Zone. And but he wants revenge on Zordon because Zordan and a bunch of young warriors at that time put him in his prison. So he wants revenge. So, um, so he releases some low level power, minions, and they go ahead and look for the Power Rangers to distract them. And while he goes to Zordon and ambushes him and leaves him critically wounded, and the Power Rangers without their powers. They morphed into their armored suits, and when Zordon was attacked, they lost their power. So they have enough juice for one last shot to get home, and they find out that Zordon is actually dying from the attack. And there's only one thing they can do. They have to go to a planet and basically to the source of their power and get repowered up. So they send him off to this planet, Phaedos, to do this, to find this great power, and but many have tried and all have failed. And they meet the guardian of the they meet the guardian of the power, the great power, when she comes and helps them fight off some more henchmen from Ivan Ooze. Since they don't have any of their power ups other than their human forms, they're at great risk of being hurt or killed. But the guardian Dulce comes in and helps them out and defeats the minions and sends them scurrying away. She tells them how to go to this monolith and they have to, in order to go to the monolith, they're gonna have to defeat guardians. And she can't help because she's not allowed to go past a certain point, otherwise she will age. But before she does, she calls on them. They're all their inner powers that they've always had, and so they get forms of falcons and frogs and bears and whatnot. So they do get somewhat powered up, and they go down to the monolith and they defeat the guardians there, and open up the portal so they can go in there and get powered up. Meanwhile, Ivan Ooze has been basically brainwashing the population by having them dig up two of his guardian kaiju that were buried along with him. So the parents of Angel Grove, the city the Power Rangers live in, they get some of this ooze, and it basically allows them to be controlled. And so after they get done digging, Ivan Ooze decides to, and this is pretty dark for a Power Rangers movie too, really, quite honestly. But he decides to have them march to their doom, as he says. In other words, he's telling them to go commit suicide by jumping off into this big hole. Pretty dark, like I said. It was like, oh, okay, it's a little different. I thought they would maybe, get told to tie their shoelaces, of their neighbors or something, so they all fall down, some prank or something. But no, he wants them to kill themselves. So anyway, the kids, a couple of kids, they realize what's going on, and they try to save their parents from being killed. And so they're fighting on one front, and while the Power Rangers are actually fighting on the other. And finally, the Power Rangers they get powered up and they come back to Earth, and they go ahead and they battle Ivan Ooze. Now this is all going on while they're battling the two kaiju and then Ivan. Um, the, the, the parents are still marching to the hole. There's no like Power Rangers coming to save the parents and then go fight the bad guy. It's like we're gonna fight the bad guy first and then we'll see what happens after that. So the kids are trying to stop their parents, and only because one named Fred has a idea of splashing water on them and keeping them back, not waking them up, but just keeping them back. The force of the water. He's basically buying time for the Power Rangers to defeat the enemy, and it's a longer fight than expected, and they have to go into space. And finally, we see that Ivan Ooze meets his maker permanently. The Power Rangers then go back, not to help the kids save their parents. No, they go back to their headquarters to help Zordon but they're too late. Zordon has passed, but fortunately for us, they still have enough internal power left inside that they donate part of their life force to bring back Zordon, and this restores their base and Zordon, and then they go down and then save the parents. When Ivan Ooze dies, the parents gets woken up. But of course, the Power Rangers have no idea about this. They just killed Ivan and go like, okay, we killed him, so now we can go back to our base. I think if they had known what was going on, they probably would have flew down there and maybe saved the parents. But uh, so overall, because there's a happy ending, right? Of course, there's room for a sequel. Lord Zed and Rita Repulsa, they get broken out of the Phantom Zone at the end of the movie. So there's your sequel. Here's some thoughts about the Power Rangers movie 1995. There's a couple of facts here that I'm looking at, and what's really cool, and I do, when watching this movie, I did realize that they had not used any stock footage. This is the first time they had not done that. Everything that was in the movie was created for the movie, so they didn't use any of the Super Sentai creatures or kaiju or fight scenes or nothing. It was all in house. It was all Saban Entertainment, the production crew, which I actually thought that was really refreshing. The effects are what they are. If they're probably they're probably basically on the same level as Regu, the movie I just reviewed for Dollar Tree Theater. They're about that. Computer generated, of course. And the acting, believe it or not, I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of clowning for this, but the acting wasn't that bad. For a young cast like they were very earnest. They are very earnest, very clean cut, and they worked. They really tried hard. And it was a good time. It was a good time. I found myself like, wow, this is not bad at all. I mean, if I was a kid at that age and I was watching this for the first time, my mind would have been blown. Would have been like, poof. But 27 years later, and this movie actually holds up. I have not seen the remake, so even though I do have it, I just misplaced it. I must have gotten this at the library, I'm thinking, because it's not Dollar Tree, it's not Dollar Tree, or nor is it Family Video. So I must have got this at the library and just forgot. So this won't be this won't be Dollar Tree Theater. I actually liked the movie. I thought it was well written. I know that for what it is. I know that some people criticized it. That was part of the criticism of it. I don't know why. The movie made bank. It made worldwide. It made $67 million at the theater. And let me tell you, the merchandise associated with this movie pushed this movie into the hundreds of millions, because Power Rangers were crazy big. So you had more than just $67 million. And then when the movie came out VHS, and probably early DVD. This movie sold like hotcakes. So and the budget was only $15 million. $15 million to get a return of 67 million. And they didn't even have to spend a whole hell of a lot of movie advertising it. Let me tell you, it's one of those movies that every kid knew about. Um, so the budget was the budget and the movie it did decently well. Um, I thought, like I said, I thought the acting was fine. I thought the story was pretty fine. You're writing for kids, so I don't understand why. What do you expect? Do you expect Hamlet? I mean, you're writing a kids show. Of course, this plot's going to be simple, and there part of the criticism was it played out like an extended episode of the series. And what's wrong with that? Uh, that's what kids wanted to see. They wanted to see the Power Rangers. They wanted to root for their heroes. They wanted to see them, maybe change into the Megazord. Earlier might have helped a little bit. I mean, it's a long movie, so it would have been nice to see that, because kids get bored. So it would have been nice to see that. Um, but overall, I thought it was fine. I mean, it was. I mean, it was an hour and almost an hour and 40 minutes long. That's a long time to hold a kid's attention, and it did well. Um, Hell, if it held my attention for 96 minutes, right? Um, so I decided to just talk about this movie a little bit. So here we are. Um, of course, the Power Rangers also remind me of G-Force, which had the same premise. Voltron had the same premise. Um, I think G-Force came first, and then Power Rangers, then Voltron. But basically, it came out the same way. They had robots. They had a team of kids. They had robots, and then they could morph into a giant monster, and then they battled different evil every week. Um, but this was live action. This is live action, whereas Voltron and G-Force was not. Super Sentai, I do believe, was live action. Um, I'm not sure if Super Sentai ever got released over here in the States. I've never seen it being advertised or seen it on the shelves or anything else. So if anybody knows the answer to that, let me know in the comments below, because I don't think so. Um, Power Rangers, as far as I know, I still think they're on. I know that they ran for several years on ABC on Saturday mornings. But since Saturday mornings cartoons are not a thing anymore, I'm not sure if it's still being made. I know it ran for like 11 or 10 seasons, and uh, uh, so I don't know if it's still going on. Um, yeah. Well, this is a lot of fun. I highly recommend this, believe it or not. Especially if you're a kaiju fan, if you're a mech fan, if you like Godzilla or Pacific Rim or anything else like that, or Voltron, or Jet Jaguar, or the Jet Jaguar from Godzilla versus Megalon, not the animated Jet Jaguar. That's some shit right there. But that's another story for another time. But yeah, I would recommend this if you see it. I would, if you're a kaiju fan, like I said, if you're a Godzilla fan, Gigan fan, or whatnot, this is something to watch. It'll keep your attention. Um, and if you have kids, introduce them to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Um, I can't think of it's nothing objectionable as far as that goes, except like I said, maybe that the theme of making the guy, making the parents walk to commit suicide. That was a little dark, but otherwise that no problems. This is a lot. This is a fun movie to watch and introduce your kids to mech or kaiju or a combination of both. And yeah, me and the cheetah, we gave this a thumbs up and a paws up. All right. Well, if you're new to the channel and you're surprised to see a grown man talk about Power Rangers, well, then you haven't been on the channel very long, because we do talk about this stuff because we love it. Um, but go ahead and hit the notification bell, hit the sub button, and drop a comment and tell us which of the Power Rangers is your favorite. I personally like Power Rangers SPD. I thought that was a really well written series. well acted. It was definitely the funnest for me. Um, but you go ahead and drop your comment down below. Which series, which season was your favorite? Which Power Rangers was your favorite? And drop it in the comment below. Love to hear your feedback. All right, well, we're out of here. So thanks so much, and we will talk at you soon. Peace.